welcome aboard.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
Liftoff. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
We would like to welcome you aboard Capsule Endeavour.
MD Houston flight. Houston is go for undocking and departure.
Visual, 2 drogues out.
200 meters. We are braced for splashdown.
Copy, brace for splashdown. Endeavour, on behalf of the SpaceX and NASA teams, welcome back to planet Earth. Thanks for flying SpaceX.
South Bay Ford, located right off the 405 freeway, has provided excellent service for 25 years, winning the President's Award for 13 consecutive years and being in the top 100 Ford dealers in the U.S. Come see our over 1,000 car inventory and top volume pre-owned cars at 5100 West Rosecrans Avenue in Hawthorne, California, 90250. Se habla español.
At Farmers Insurance, they know how you like to save on your insurance policy.
You work hard for your assets, we work hard to protect them. Come on by and see us.
Joel Versh's Farmers Insurance office is located at 13666 Hawthorne Boulevard, number 4. For a question, call 310-973-3514. Hablamos Español.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
The Small Business Development Center is here to help you create value for your business. The SBDC offers no-cost advising with paid professional small business experts. Assistance includes accounting and financing, business plans, contracting, marketing or social media, and more. To get more information or to apply for help, call 310-225-8277 or email ECCSBDC@elcamino.edu.
The South Bay Workforce Investment Board is proud to be able to continue providing essential support services to businesses as well as individuals seeking job search assistance during these most challenging times. Our one-stop business and career centers have conformed to the mandated safe distancing protocols, enabling us to continue serving our clients virtually, including immediate support for businesses and displaced workers experiencing closures and layoffs. Visit us at www.sbwib.org and discover how we can work together.
Organic coffee, fine teas, fresh meals, and delicious desserts are all baked and prepared fresh daily at Earth Cafe South Bay. Plus, a wide variety of options are also available for catering. Earth Cafe South Bay is currently open daily from 7 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. for takeout and delivery. To order online, visit their website at www.earthcafe.com or by calling Earth Cafe South Bay at 424-426-0700.
Hi, I'm Tanya with Republic Services. Recycling is important because it helps ensure the longevity of valuable resources for future generations. That's Recycling Simplified.
SoCal Gas. At SoCal Gas, our mission is to build the cleanest, safest, most innovative energy company in America. Hughes Payroll Management, providing payroll, accounting, and bookkeeping services for small businesses in Hawthorne.
And now Hawthorne Business Expo 2021 presents Panel 2. And the topic is how business owners reinvented themselves after COVID-19, or how my business reinvented itself after COVID-19. The amusing part of this title is at the time we created this program, we thought that we would be mostly finished with COVID-19. So we put the title in the past tense. But as you all know, we are still struggling and you are still struggling. So I'm going to be very interested in hearing your stories as you continue to struggle through this virus. It is my pleasure to present the leader of the panel, Mr. Larry Johnson, Program Lead Advisor for the Small Business Development Center at El Camino College, who will introduce the rest of the panel. Larry, take it away.
Thank you very much, Olivia. I appreciate the opportunity to serve as the lead of the panel. One side technical note, one of our panelists, Michael Rito from the lab, is having difficulty. Could you have someone reach out to him, please?
Yes, I will ask Eric to help him.
Okay, terrific. As I said, Larry Johnson, I'm the program lead advisor at the El Camino College Small Business Development Center, and very pleased to host this panel of some of our area's most distinguished business leaders. Joining me on the panel today are Brad Storms from CNS Sales. He's the Vice President of Sales. CNS is a brand promotions and promotional merchandise company offering a full range of promotional products, hospitality items, custom packaging, graphic design services, and online store and fulfillment and distribution. Also, we have Earth Cafe, represented by Shalom Berkman, co-founder. Earth Cafe is the first exclusive heirloom and organic coffee roaster in America, and they're right here in Hawthorne. Also joining me is Adam Shafani of Le Pain du Jour. He is the general manager, and Le Pain du Jour is a veteran-owned bakery that has specialized in delicious fine pastries and rustic artisan bread since 1998. And I gotta tell you, they make the best croissant, I think, in Los Angeles. Create the Lab. Michael Rito is owner of Create the Lab. It's an event, film, and production company that offers production equipment, stage design, and consulting. Create the Lab is also a physical 12,000 square foot studio that offers custom design sets for a variety of film projects. And we are pleased to have Courtyard Town Place Suites. Chris Doherty is the campus general manager for the hotel, and also for that fine Medici wood-fired pizza and Kitchen Hawthorne restaurants in that facility. And finally, Joel Versh Agency, Joel Versh, agent owner. Joel is Joel's agency is in the asset protection business. His agency strives to work hard and protect all of the assets you work so hard to attain. They protect everything you own, from auto, home, business, and most importantly, your life. And Joel tells me that they even can cover your pet. He's also licensed to provide financial services such as retirement accounts and college savings accounts. Joel is a full service agency. Now, the way we're going to run the panel is fairly informally. I'm going to ask each one of the panelists to speak individually, and I'll give you an opportunity as they are speaking to enter questions in the Q&A, and we will pop in with questions as appropriate. And sometimes you may even have the panelists pop in with their questions. So we'll get started today with CNS Sales and Brad Storms.
Morning, or good afternoon, actually. So what is our question here?
So Brad, we're talking about COVID-19 and the challenges you faced over the past year and a quarter or so, and how you confronted those challenges.
Well, so we're a 45-year-old company, so we've gone through a myriad of challenges over the decades, and this one's has been the worst out of all of them. We literally saw business come to a grinding halt, the middle of March, and the next 4 months, our business kind of evaporated. We do sell hand sanitizer and some PPE, so we deemed ourselves essential, and we kept working with a limited staff. We laid off about 15 people. We sheltered in place about 15 people. Only a couple of them could actually do the business from home. We brought back 9 of them, got rid of the other 6, and we're fully staffed, into the foreseeable future. PPP money certainly helped stabilize some of the losses, but we saw about $4 million just evaporate from our bottom line. November and December, we were doing a lot of fulfillment, a lot of work from home kits, a lot of healthcare kits, which when the pandemic started, you knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that had COVID. And now it's literally knocking at our door. We've had a few instances where family members of employees have gotten it. Some of the people back in fulfillment have gotten it, but not from here. They've gotten it in their home office. We've tested here numerous times, but I can only bring so many people. And I've got 4 people in the back doing fulfillment where normally I would have 15 to 25 to get these things out. So it has certainly hampered us in regards to pushing product out the door. And January has gotten really, really quiet. It's gotten slow. I think the first wave of, we got to get something out to people has kind of hit. And now they're kind of taking a step back in the new presidency and how things are going to move forward. And still, we're way out there with the vaccines, especially until it gets to someone my age, to see how that plays out. So it's still a challenge, and we're still limited with staff due to the COVID knocking on our door.
But I would imagine, given the fact that the future is beginning to look a little brighter than it did last year, that you must be anticipating a major rush as people get back. Your clients are going to want to attract their customers back. They're going to want to make them feel safe and comfortable and get them excited. Are you beginning to have conversations with your customers to let them know you've got options and alternatives to attract business?
We're having conversations, but I think you're a little optimistic in regards to the coming back. The Disney's one of our bigger accounts, and they're, July is the earliest they're going back into the office. Our product is given away the most cost effectively at events, trade shows. You send 1,000 of something over to Disney. Toyota's one of my big accounts that California walk right out of the state. So those places where you can cost effectively hand out swag are kind of gone. It's expensive to ship product to people's homes, especially during the holiday season. UPS, FedEx, USPS, DHL, it was a hot mess because Amazon so much has plugged up that space with just shipping nonsense, so to speak. So, with the amount of businesses I think that are going to be going out of business, I'm optimistic, but I'm not seeing quite that light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, the vaccines will certainly help, but you got a large segment that feels they are very, very cost effective working from home, and I am just not a fan of it. It's you lose creativity, you lose the human contact, you lose the collaboration, and everyone thinks they're very, very effective working from home because their email box has been all cleared out, and that's not the way it works.
So Fred, what do you recommend for other sales and marketing companies out there, especially here in the city of Hawthorne? How should they position themselves going forward?
Well, it's funny. When this thing first kind of started, we were hesitant to start reaching out to clients because it was a very unusual time, and you don't want to, you don't want to be pushing product when their business is coming to a grinding halt. They're laying people off. But we took the gloves off at about June, which we did see the impact of that come August, September. It's pick up the phone. Don't send an email expecting someone to answer it because we're all buried in emails now. Pick up the phone, send a text. You start off with how you doing, how are things going. And if it naturally progresses into business, that's terrific. But that's the main takeaway is reach out, and it's physically picking up the phone and communicating with these people. And I think that's what we're starting to see the benefits of. We are Zooming a lot. There's Zoom fatigue out there, but seeing people and even as someone said, because we had some sales training this morning, when you do come back in person, everyone's going to be wearing a mask, as opposed to, at least in this setting here, we're all maskless, and I can see your faces, which at least that's a little bit more refreshing than, being 12 feet apart in someone's office. And there's still going to be a lot of that fear, even all the way through 2021. So
right.
That's my recommendation.
But the good old fashioned maintain contact. If you can't literally press the flesh, virtually do it.
Absolutely, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because and especially in this format, you can see emotion. At least you get some sense of what's happening. And I'm actually in the office, so you can see the chaos I've got going back in that world there. I mean, it's been all hands on deck, and usually I'm clean this time of year because after the holidays, and I'm just trying to get stuff done.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, Brad. We'll get back to you in a second. Let's switch over to the food and beverage industry, and with some of the recent news by our fearless leaders in the government sector, looks like there's going to be more activity. And let's ask Shalom Berkman of Earth Cafe to give us how COVID has affected his business and how he's bounced back from those rabbit punches in the gut. Up, you're muted.
Sorry. Here we go. Got to get used to that. Great to be with you all. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Well, I will tell you that before COVID, takeout and delivery was 4% of our business. And so things have changed dramatically since then. And what we did to adapt is we put our full attention to develop 3 programs as soon as possible. And we got them up and running by early summer. The first is our mobile app, so that you can check out the whole menu and you can pre-order and prepay for takeout and delivery. That was a life changer. That is an incredible thing. And we also revamped our website. So our website, it didn't even have our food menus on it before. Now it's extremely interactive. You can go on the website and you can see beautiful photos of everything we serve, all of our services and all of our foods and beverages. And it's very interactive. You can communicate with us, you can leave reviews, you can communicate with other guests. It's pretty cool. And we've seen a lot of activity as far as people communicating via our website. And the third program that we initiated for COVID is a loyalty program. Just we never had that before. We did have it, but now it's digital. It's much more advanced. So every 10 organic coffees or teas, you can get a free one. And there's birthday gifts, desserts for birthdays, and referral gifts, special gifts, and also for bulk heirloom organic coffee. So we've done that loyalty program, and that helps us communicate with our guests. We built a database of customers immediately of 2,000. It's pretty great for just within a few weeks, and that's not solicited or purchased. That's real customers signing up. And with all of that, we were doing pretty good until this latest shutdown. We had been, well, South Bay Earth Cafe is only 1 year old. It turned 1 year this October. And in October, it was 200% ahead of last year. So that's pretty remarkable. And now with when the tables and chairs were taken away, it dropped down to only about 10% ahead of last year. But that's nothing to complain too much about. To be ahead of last year, and we're now 100% takeout and delivery, when that was not hardly even anything to do with our business. So that's very exciting. But that is the exciting thing about Hawthorne. Hawthorne is a gem, and it's a great community, and it's a vibrant community, and it's received so much more support than our other older branches in other parts of Los Angeles. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fantastic. Well, I think that this is fabulous information that you've been able to bounce back to that level and engage with your customer base in a way that you had not before. And certainly it says a lot about the marketplace in this community, and it says a lot about the appeal of what you have to offer. I should suggest that you might even want to consider talking to our friend Bradley about some of the items he may be able to offer you to appeal to your loyal customers. I just mentioned that in passing.
Sure.
Let's move on to Adam Shafani and LaPen. And Adam, tell me, how has COVID impacted your business, and what have you done about it?
Well, thank you so much, Larry. And first, I just wanted to go ahead and thank the Small Business Development Center, the El Camino Small Business Development Center, as well as Councilwoman Olivia Valentine for putting together this event and inviting us to speak. So thank you so much, first and foremost. So there's been a lot of change for us as a local bakery in Hawthorne over the last year. One thing that what we really believe, well, it seems like suffering in a way is kind of nature's preferred agent for inspiring change, and that was certainly the case for us. So we had to change a few things. We actually changed three main things, and that was we doubled down on our social media engagement, and we became more present online. And I truly believe that for small local businesses, especially in Hawthorne, it's significantly important to get online if you're not already, and to start building discussion with your customers, as well as promoting your product. It's a very valuable channel to invest in. So we became more present on Instagram, as well as through our website and many delivery platforms such as Postmates and Grubhub. In addition to that, in March, once they kind of closed things down, we had to adjust on the whim. And for a minute, we were actually selling pastries right outside of our door. And although the community was very supportive of us throughout that whole process, we knew that we needed to adapt. And that's what led us to actually renovating parts of our business to become more adaptable in the new challenges, the new environment that we were faced with the social distancing. And so aside from becoming OSHA, making sure we were OSHA compliant and working towards the LA County Safety Compliance Certificate Program, and just doing virtual screenings for all of our employees to make sure that they were safe first and foremost, and following local and state guidelines in relation to the COVID, the new COVID guidelines. But we actually renovated the face of our business. So we stopped actually letting people inside. And we took out our front window and we replaced it with a sliding glass takeout window. And that created a fundamental change for our business that I would say affected us positively. And that's what I mean by sometimes you need to be faced with challenges to inspire good change, because it wasn't until that we got faced with all these challenges in the year of 2020 that we really got fired up and started finding solutions to a lot of business problems that kind of transcend the pandemic altogether and just make for a better business. So our thing was we just really wanted to provide value for the community. So by listening to our customers and understanding their situation, being from Hawthorne myself, being very much in touch with the community, we knew that we had to make some changes to our menu, and we wanted to be able to just offer bread to people who maybe were in a tough financial situation, and by doing so, making a menu that was very affordable to them, but also had a great quality to it as well.
So Adam, tell me, did you have and maintain customer lists from the very beginning, or did you have a mobile app like the folks at Earth Cafe that you put into place? How were you able to reach out to these customers?
Right. A couple things that we did was we hired a social media digital marketing team that was able to work together with us and collaborate in a way that would create discussion online, as well as we launched a monthly newsletter that would inform our customers about upcoming events and new guidelines, as well as just keeping in touch with people and really just creating that discussion, because
Keeping the conversation going. Do you have how do they order from you? Do you man a phone bank, or do you, or is your ordering automated through an app or some other feature?
Yeah, people can always call us in, as well as order directly through. We don't have an app quite yet, but we do take orders directly through our Instagram Messenger, as well as through our website. You can place an order directly through our website as well.
Okay. Shalom, could you talk a bit about your app and how that was established and how that's operating and how it interacts with your website?
Sure. In fact, I saw a question come in about whether we contracted. We needed to do it quickly. So we contacted a company that has platforms for apps that you can just tweak and personalize it for your own company. It's called Paytronics. And it's great. It's the same one that originally developed for Starbucks, and now they do it for any company that wants to use their services. And so we did that, and it's surprisingly very much like the telephone. I mean, somebody has to receive those emails or messages on a tablet, and then of course make sure it's done and reply back, let people know when it's going to be ready. So it's very labor intensive. We had to create a new position. We call it the quality control expediter. That person receives the messages that come from the app, and they then make sure that each department gets the order, because we have different departments. We have the bakery showcase, we have the coffee bar, we have the kitchen, we have different departments. So that person goes and collects everything, lets the customer know that it's ready. And we even have a policy that any complaints are answered in the same shift. And so we unfortunately get a lot of complaints too. It's hard, but we have to answer them and resolve them to the satisfaction of each guest by the end of the shift. So
how do you handle deliveries?
I'm sorry?
How do you handle deliveries?
We use the standard delivery services. I think our app operates through DoorDash, so it goes out to DoorDash, but each of the major delivery platforms, Grubhub and Uber Eats, also Postmates, they also have Earth Cafe menus. So we receive from those companies as well.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's shift gears a bit and go back to go to a service industry, and probably one of the age-old service industries we have in our economy today is that of the insurance agency. And Joel Verse, tell us, how has this pandemic impacted your business?
Well, hey guys, thanks Councilwoman Valentine and Larry for inviting me to the panel here. And the good news is I'm just like the rest of you, or most of you. I'm a small business owner. The front of my business card says insurance agent, but you all know what the back says. It says banker, IT, HR, supply clerk, window cleaner, toilet cleaner. I basically I do everything. I am a small business. The good news is I represent a brand. It's a nationwide brand in farmers, but I'm on my own. I'm basically an agency owner. I have to function under their brand guidelines, but ultimately it's my responsibility. So pre-COVID, I was basically, I'm an insurance agent. What do? I insure your car and your home, and I'm here to help. I was more kind of going in line with what Brad said to begin with. I was more of a reactive, I guess is the best way. Somebody would call and say, "Hey, I bought a new car." It's okay, great, and I take care of it. And that was just the way it was. I was basically as popular as a dentist, right? You need to go when your tooth hurts. You call an insurance agent when you got in an accident. I have, since COVID, I have taken the opportunity to use that time to reinvent myself and reinvent the business. And like Larry was saying, good grief, insurance has been around. Well, farmers has been around since 1928. So, when Henry Ford made the Model A or the Model T, you started to need insurance. Obviously, it's evolved, and that's what I used the pandemic to do, is to evolve my business. And I guess the best thing that I've learned from it is that I now have to be more flexible. I'm now actively chasing business, shall we say, rather than waiting for it to come to me. Just like Shalom and Adam and anybody in any industry, basically, is like, okay, you got hitting the chops, and now you got to dust yourself off, and now what's going to happen? And I used it to work on myself and my business. The biggest thing that I can tell you that I did is I invested in technology. I did a lot of research, and I said, okay, what can I do to get in front of more people? And the first thing I did is I invested in a different phone system, and it just made things easier to with technology to say, okay, now my agency can text you. If you're at a dealership and you're buying a new car and you can't get the car until you have a copy of your ID card, within 2 minutes you can contact the agency, and now we can just text it to you, and boom, it shows up on your phone. I couldn't do that this time last year. So things like that. I also invested in a company. Two other things were, one is a company that does, and I can't remember who mentioned it. I think it was Adam, that talks about a newsletter. So I need to be front of mind. Like I said, nobody thinks about me or an insurance. Nobody on the panel, nobody listening, really thinks about their insurance until they have to make the payment or if they need a claim. I want to make sure that I'm front of mind, so that on a Tuesday, if you could play golf, you're playing golf with somebody, and somebody mentions something about insurance, you go, you know what, I got a really good guy, give Joel a call. And that's where I need to get to, where I'm front of mind. So I use this technology. It's emailed out. It shows up in your email box a couple of times a month. It's very interactive. It's easy on my part. It's pretty cost effective, and it gets my face in front of more people. And then the second thing that I did technology wise, or the third thing, I guess, is invest in a video application, I guess is the best way to say it. So now I can set myself apart from other insurance agents, other people in the business, in that if you call me for a proposal, I have the ability to do the proposal, but I can set myself up or set myself apart from my counterparts, in that I can record a video, and I email that video to you with the proposal. So like, we talked in the beginning about we lose this face-to-face because honestly, in all of our industries, it's a relationship that you're trying to build. We're all essentially in the commodity industry, right? I can buy, look, I have, well, you can't see it, but I have a farmer's mug. I have, all the stuff that Brad sells. I have that to give to people, when you come into my office. You go have coffee, you have coffee at, Earth Cafe. You go have a Danish, and you need to stay at a hotel, you go to the Marriott. But it's you have to set yourself apart from everybody else, because I could stay at the Marriott, I could stay at the Hilton, I can go have coffee at Starbucks, or I can go to Earth Cafe. You need to grab onto your customers and say, no, you want to do business with me because I do this, or I'm this way. And I really like this video system, because I've done a couple of things. I created a birthday video, and it's just me saying thank you for doing business with Farmers and Joel Versh, and happy birthday. And I have the girls in the office, my staff, who happens to be bilingual, say a little, say it in Spanish to let everybody know, hey, if you speak Spanish, we can still take care of you. And I send that to folks, and I get a pretty good response in that, even my own kids forgot it was my birthday today. I really appreciate it. So it's things like that I'm just front of mind, and it's technology. And for lack of a better words, you just can't be a secret agent. Right. I spent a lot of time in a different industry before this, and you can't be a secret agent. Your friends, your family, everybody needs to know what you do, why you do it, and become a raving fan, not just a satisfied customer, because there's a big difference between being a satisfied customer, because we all strive for that. You need to create what we used to refer to as a raving fan, meaning somebody that's tooting your horn to say, oh my gosh, I had the greatest day ever. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going to go. I ended up at the Marriott, but oh man, they just did everything the right way, from check-in to whatever. And then I had a, coffee at Earth Cafe, and it was the best cup of coffee I've had in a long time. And they served it with a smile, and my order was right. You just have to make sure that people are talking about you.
Well, you've said it. You've said and underlined what the previous speakers emphasized today. The common message is you've got to keep pressing the flush. You've got to stay in touch with your customer base, not just in one way using one platform, but using multiple platforms, multiple approaches, and presenting the way you can differentiate yourself to that marketplace, whether it's in what you are serving in terms of actual product or actual service, and how you are delivering that and bringing out your personality. There's a distinct personality that Earth Cafe presents, and a message that it represents. There's a distinctive message that Adam gives in the quality of the food he produces, and certainly the full range of services that Brad offers. You wouldn't expect that to be offered by a traditional promotional products company, and it's not, because he goes from soup to nuts in terms of being able to take care of your every need. And of course, that brings us to the hospitality business, which has really been kicked in the butt by this COVID environment and the shutdown. And there've been a lot of surprises along the way, but I know Chris has managed to ride with the bumps and turn lemons into lemonade. And so, Chris, tell us about some of those stories and how you've been able to create success in the midst of this amazing pandemic.
Sure. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate you having me, and Olivia and the rest of the committee. Thanks so much for having me. Joel, just first off, I'd like to say, if you're traveling, please choose the Marriott, not the Hilton. I'll help you with that down the road.
One day we get to travel again.
And restrictions loosened up. We can travel a little bit more now as of yesterday, which is great news for us. But we with our 2 hotels and our Medici, we haven't been immune to this pandemic by any means. It's the biggest crash the hospitality industry's ever seen. I was around during 9/11, and I was around during the recession of 2008. Both of those were extremely difficult, but this COVID deal is unbelievable, and how long it's lasted. Somewhere first week of March last year, I was sitting at my desk and watching revenue just run away from us. And I think it was March 6th. And then on March 9th, I walked into the office and we'd lost hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of future bookings. And every day for a while, it became a conversation between my director of sales and myself about which groups were canceling, what leisure travel was not coming anymore. And it was doom and gloom, just like it was for everybody else. And so we took a few steps to try and change the narrative and get back to producing revenue versus watching revenue fly away from us. We put a huge focus on sales and marketing, like some of the other folks have said. We're in an area here in the South Bay that has a concentration of more hotel rooms than most anywhere in the country, with the exception of major metropolitan areas. There's a lot of rooms and there's very little occupancy coming to us. So we actually went ahead and built up our sales team and marketing team during all of this. A lot of the hotels in the area laid off their whole sales team, laid off their whole marketing team in an effort to save money. Our theory was, if you have somebody who can sell your business and market your business and they're the right person, they're going to pay for themselves. We have the luxury in a lot of cases of, we kind of have the big Marriott machine behind us, but even the corporate offices in Bethesda laid off thousands of people and kind of left our individual businesses to fend for ourselves. So we brought in extra salespeople, started making contacts throughout the country. My sales team right now is the 3-person wonder team. They are making at minimum 300 calls a week to companies, businesses, individuals throughout the country. We also put a greater focus on marketing, especially through social media. I myself am not a huge social media user, but I see the value in it. Looking at some numbers on screen time usage, whether that be your phone or your computer, the biggest number I saw was usage of these were up 66% in 2020. We all sat around more looking at our phones. We all sat around more looking at our computers because we couldn't do anything else. Find the hashtags that fit your business. Do what you can to draw that in. We're in a remarkable area as far as, speaking of Hawthorne, the community here is invested in the city more than I've seen anywhere else in the country. And I've worked in several different states, California, Colorado, Indiana, Illinois, Utah, and the community here is far more in tune with what's going on than I've seen anywhere else. So use the social media, it's huge. You can do the offers like other folks have talked about. Market your business that way. People are spending time doing that. So we had also look at our business in some different senses, especially on the hotel side, because the South Bay is driven by giant companies, typically for the hospitality industry, and folks like SpaceX, Tesla, and Northrop and Lockheed. All of those businesses aren't sending people out on the road like they used to. The Los Angeles Air Force Base is not sending people out like they used to. So being involved in your local community is going to be huge. So we've tried to find that and keep touch with businesses that are operating. Healthcare is huge. We got in with healthcare workers early on, and they've been 75% of our business during COVID. Construction has probably been about 20%, and then locals has, and a little bit of other travel has been the remainder of it. So my sales team is fantastic. Our director of sales, Melissa, is a veteran. She's been through the goods and the bads, and she and her team are doing an amazing job. So once we finally started getting some business back, we had to look at what we're doing in-house to make sure we could keep what little bit of business is there. And some of that is just plain perception. No matter where anybody goes right now, we're all looking to see how clean the environment is. If you're perceived to be dirty, people are going to think the virus is floating around in the air. So a lot of the cleaning and all of that we used to do overnight, we moved to regular hours. That way, if you're coming through our building, you're seeing that we're cleaning, you're seeing we're disinfecting. It used to be you would hide that. You didn't want people seeing it.
Yeah.
Now we're putting it front
Right
and
up front.
center.
That's so important in hospitality. I think we've got, and also in food service. And it can be a selling technique. Absolutely.
And then communication, whether that's internally with your team or that's externally with your guests or clients or customers, however you want to tag them, what name you want to use, has been really important. We all have been spending a lot of time trying to figure out what the current restrictions are and who can be in town, who cannot be in town, what you can have inside versus outside. Let the people know coming to your door what to expect before they get there. And if they don't meet the criteria, then they're not traveling a distance to get to you.
Right.
And then make sure your team internally knows what's going on too. In my case, I have people at the front desk who are speaking to customers more than I do, and they need to have the right information and be able to relay that on. So communication, sell your business, whether it's phone calls, whether it's mailings, whether it's social media, and social media is the big one right now.
Right.
Do that.
Well, Chris, your business is going to benefit from the refocus of some of our leadership on opening things up a bit. The business I'm really interested in hearing about is a very challenged business, and that is Michael's business, Create the Lab. You run an event, film, and production company. You even have a 12,000 square foot studio, and you're dependent upon things happening and people being able to get together, and that's not happening. Tell me, how have you addressed this?
Hello. First of all, thank you, Larry, for having me, and Olivia for having the lab once again, a part of the Hawthorne Business Expo. And hello, fellow community members of the greatest city in the greater LA, Hawthorne, California. My name is Michael Rito, and I turn the gears here at Create the Lab, which is a production studio in Hawthorne. And we've been here since 2012. So we've seen a lot of changes, but no one could predict COVID-19. No one could predict this. And so we saw the effects financially as early as February. We do events, we do film. You know, when you book your whatever custom or private events or of any scale, concert, wedding, even, that's the type of stuff that we help create and essentially build that vision. So when we're seeing the effects as early as February, cancellations, postponements, hundreds of thousands of dollars just gone. And not only that, that's just this, you know, in the foreseeable future, but no new inquiries. Then we're in a position of, like everyone else, but I have to say, and Chris will relate to this, being in the hospitality and entertainment industry, we have seen that wave early in February. And in February, early March, I have to say it was probably the scariest time in my life, because there was no reassurance that the rest, I mean, we're just seeing the cancellations, you know, then, and the limitations, you know, okay, we can do events up to 500 people. That's it, that's the max. Then it was 100 people. Then it was 50 people. Then it was 25 people. Then it was no events. Then it was nothing. And then finally, March 16th, that's when the stay-at-home order was put into effect. And then it was universal. Then it was like, okay, well, at least we're all in this together, but still, what do we do? You know, where do we go from here? We still have no incoming business, no inquiries for the rest of the year, let alone beyond that. And any of the big projects that were in discussions, any of the proposals that were sent out were all squashed. They all went away. It was like a clean slate, which normally would be a good thing, but with no clear direction of where to go and how we would even survive, how we would even float. You know, you heard of this, the sink or swim. I mean, there was no indication of what is the right direction, what do we do? And that's, I'm sure a lot of businesses could relate to this feeling that we had in February and early March. And so it was kind of like, okay, do we quit now while we're ahead? Do we just kind of close down what we can and build up or cut down the overhead costs, right? Because then we could survive. If we just go into limp mode, you know, if you drive a car or something that's in a limp mode and it's just giving you the bare necessities of resources to move, we could do that. And that was one option. The other option was just to walk away from it all entirely. And, you know, I'll be honest, I was, you know, even investigating other avenues of industry in March. There were times when I was just, you know, maybe this is a sign, maybe this is a time to get out of this entertainment hospitality industry, because look, we're the first ones to go down, and let's be honest, we're going to be the last ones to go back up. I mean, even when things come back, it's not going to be 100%. It's not even going to be 50%. And still, to this day, 1 year later, it's still the case. So am I prepared for that? Is my business prepared for that? Are my employees prepared for that? And most importantly, are my clients and my friends prepared for this? Will they survive? All my resources, manufacturers, distributors, are they still going to be here after this is all over? There's no promise. There's no indication that that will be the case. But simultaneously, I'm seeing that, okay, Amazon, Costco, Walmart, they're growing. You know, should I invest? Should I become a part of this technology wave? This is also booming. So how can I tap into this? And so before leaving what I've spent so many years to create and curate and build a solid clientele and the resources that we've had and the opportunities that we've had, you know, before throwing all that away, there was a thought in my mind, and I was like, okay, well, the entertainment industry in the past, looking back history, it's never died. I mean, I grew my business based off of the last recession, the 2009, 2008 recession. And that was when production companies were looking to pinch pennies here and there, and they're willing to. Back then they had Rolodex. They were willing to kind of venture outside of the usual Rolodex of production companies they've been working with for so many years, and boilerplate quotes and prices and services. And so I would just offer what I could at the time. I was very small, and then from there, it just they were like, oh well, you can do this, the same thing for this price. Okay, great. But that was different, and I was sure, I was like, if this happens again, my company is recession proof, right? But and back then, mind you, there were still events going on. There was still, because everyone was unhappy and depressed. They've lost their houses, money, and all this stuff. But still, events provided a positive influence. It's like companies were still investing in events back then. So that was very different than what we have today, because today events are illegal. Right now, events are illegal. 1 year ago, that's when it started. So, and that's my business. So how the heck am I going to, make this work? And one thing I just kept ringing true is the entertainment industry never dies. It never dies. It always, it may fluctuate, it may do this and that, and flutter, but it never goes away. People need entertainment. And so one of my, you could say, bigger clients in the name, let's say they provide concerts, shows, tours of all of your favorite artists, but those are all canceled. No one can go to these concerts. No one can go to these tours and shows. It's all done. So what's the answer? Well, yes, we've seen the novelty of your favorite whatever singer songwriters play in the comforts of their own home. That's been fun. I remember watching Global Citizen One. That was like the first big kind of like live stream concert. That had Lady Gaga and Kesha and all these people, and that was cool because we were all in it together at that time. We were all at home. There was nowhere to go, nothing to do, and so we saw them playing at home. But the other alternative later, what we saw were these drive-in concerts, drive-in theaters, and that was a big one for my clients. Who like, we have to do this. We have to do the drive-in concerts, the drive-in theaters. That's where that's how we can reinvent ourselves. The problem with that is when you think about how much space a person takes versus how much a car takes, it's just, the numbers don't add up. In LA, they first started doing these in like Poland or something, and I remember thinking that's so cool, but it would never work here because square footage is so expensive. We can't have 2 people for the same price of what would normally occupy 10 people or 12 people of space. It's just not going to work out. It could be a band-aid, but it's not an answer. It's not a it's not a sustainable answer. And so then I teamed up with a great client of mine, and their studios. Well, I mean, I'm not under NDA anymore, but Sony, they had to close down a lot of their studios because they're too massive, they're too big to operate, and there's no way they could do it during COVID. So, so we came up with a live stream series, but it's different than the other live stream series that you would see. That would have, your typical, I don't know, like this. Yeah, it was a virtual reality live stream series called Melody VR. It's still an app today that you can download and watch many of your favorite artists, including some of the ones behind me, John Legend, we had here in Hawthorne, and Kesha, Tori Kelly, Cypress Hill, Nelly, and all of this was during the pandemic. And this was because they all had scheduled tours, concerts, shows that were canceled, but yet they still had to provide an answer. They still had to provide the content to their clients. And this is not just for entertainment, but this is the model that I'm talking about now. And so what we did is built out a virtual reality space, which you're seeing just a part of back here. But in order to fully experience, you would wear the VR goggles, Oculus, and there's many manufacturers out there that make the VR goggles. But essentially, so for $100, if you wanted to see, oh, sorry, wrong way. If you wanted to see John Legend back there, $100, that would get you the, the nosebleed seats, the way back there, and you'd hardly be able to see his face or do anything for $100, John Legend. But for about 10% of that cost, with the Melody VR app, now not only can you see him currently, and this is during COVID when no one has shows, not only can you see him currently, but you can actually see his facial expressions. We had these VR cameras that were set up in the room where you could move around the room as you choose. Not only could you see his face or his neck as he's belting out these fantastic vocals, but you could actually see his hands playing the chords of your favorite songs.
So is this monetized to the point that you can take advantage of it for your business and promote it into the marketplace?
Yes, it's certainly not a replacement of concerts and tours, but it provided an alternative answer, an alternative experience for
Yes.
a lot of the viewers that were craving for something other than their favorite artist just at home. That novelty wore off probably a couple months into the pandemic. And but moving forward, this technology and this model, I'll be honest with you, being in events and film, like this is not something that I did before.
Right.
And I honestly could, my personal share is I barely do it now. I just acted and I adapted. That was my I either lose everything and just try to wait it out, or
Right.
I just change my business model immediately. And believe me, I had to invest quite a bit. I had to invest everything that I saved up until this point, every dollar. I checked. I told Olivia this. I told Olivia this the other day. I was like, my bank account had like $500 in it. Seriously, $500 because I had to invest in these beautiful LED walls and all this gear, and that's where I was at. I'm like, this could either just be the end of me, or it could be a rebirth. And
Well,
I'm not saying
I
everyone should do that, but
I think that the marketplace is dying for content. The consumer has seen enough Netflix,
right,
and have listened to enough Apple Music. They're going out of their gourd with that. But you offer them an opportunity to experience experience virtual reality differently than they've ever imagined, to get close to their favorite artists in a way that they've never been able to before. So, I think that this is an amazing opportunity that people would pay even more than what you've indicated the value of it is, because I think they would pay as much as they would pay for a concert ticket to have that kind of intimate experience, as long as it's not generally available to the public.
correct. Well, at the time, it's only about 10% of the cost of a normal concert experience, so it makes it obtainable for many, and especially at a time when there's no alternative. This is being offered as an alternative, but also it's not necessarily it's not a replacement. But I think what's most important is that this technology and VR has been around for a while. It's been around since about like 2014, 2016. It's had its ups and downs, but only lately have we, at least our client base and our audience base, they have craved it to the point where it's either you're at home and you're watching a Zoom call or YouTube, or you're actually immersed in some sort of world that's other than where you are now. And that world can be achieved without actually physically leaving somewhere that you might not be necessarily feeling safe at, even after the vaccines roll out, even after, a year from now. So we believe, and I believe this, that even moving forward, eventually events will come back, concerts will come back, all of these things will come back. but there's going to be that percentage that holds out. There's going to be that percentage that just rather be safe, and for whatever their reason or beliefs are, they're going to stay in, and this provides an answer for them. So this is still an alternative medium for them to join and be a part of the content, be a part of the show, or whatever the experience may be. And this was just the first foray that we had into the live streaming world, but there's many more opportunities yet to come.
Well, thank you so very much, Michael. This is just I could spend hours talking to you about this subject, and we are so lucky to have you in our community in Hawthorne. And it
I'm
looks
proud
like
to be here.
Happy to have you here. We're getting the hook. I'd like to thank all of the panelists for such amazingly insightful information, and judging by the comments in the chat, very well received. So thank you all very much, and I wish you well, and I turn this back to Councilwoman Olivia Valentine.
Thank you, Larry, and thank you to all our wonderful panelists. We have really enjoyed listening to you. Your stories were fascinating, and all of the tips that you gave us, I took good notes, and I'm going to make sure that we share this with as many businesses as possible, because you all really, every one of you really showed us how you reinvented yourselves and are continuing to do so. Thank you so much for being a part of our program.